Sorry, we're closed.
All right, guys, welcome back. Another episode of SWC. Sorry we're closed, guys, and we are starting the podcast as we did last week with just a good old-fashioned conspiracy theory. I'm a big conspiracy theory guy. I love them. Nothing like a good Netflix conspiracy theory doc, although sometimes they can be pretty somber. Because
do you have a favorite conspiracy theory?
No, not really. I don't think I have a favorite one. I mean, the one that was like all over Netflix was 9/11, which was like a very somber one. But no, I don't think I have a favorite conspiracy theory. Okay, well, my Apple Watch has a favorite conspiracy theory, but
Patty
we're going to start us off here. I saw this
one.
Say it again.
Patty Egypt doesn't have a favorite one.
Patty Egypt. People don't know about Patty Egypt yet, Sean. That is for us in the reading room. I don't have people aren't aware of what Patty Egypt can bring to the table. But today I saw this one on TikTok. I don't remember the podcast name, nor actually I don't think I ever even looked into what the podcast name was. But they had brought on Mike Tyson, and they actually asked him about, which would have been great for the show. We brought on Mike Tyson. But we did not. So I don't have a connect to him. But I saw this on TikTok, so I saved it, and I wanted to talk about the conspiracy theory. So the conspiracy theory essentially says that there was a time traveler back at one of Mike Tyson's fights back in the 90s, because in one of the pictures, it would appear as though that there is a person recording or taking a picture of the fight via some type of smartphone. It looks like an iPhone, but it certainly could be a Galaxy. But it looks as though that is happening. So there is a conspiracy theory, and they brought it up on that show that asking Mike Tyson if he had seen it, which he had. And Sean, coincidentally, has done some research on this topic. So I'm curious to see what you've heard about it, Sean.
Well, first I'll say this. I'm looking at the picture, and you can't discredit it. And there are certain pictures where it kind of looks like it's flashing, which is sus. I think that my guess is it really does look like an iPhone or it doesn't look like an iPhone. I don't know, because it looks like I have it pulled up on my iPad here. That one's that's much clearer. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know what kind of device is on there. But anyway, so when you brought this up, what I wanted to do, because I had recently read this book by Stephen Hawking. I never, ever would have suspected that Stephen Hawking's book on the history of time would provide any sort of context to what we do here on Sorry We're Closed. But in the book, he talks about the possibility of time travel. Like, the book talks about, it's like answering the big questions of life. And one of the things, like chapter 8 or something like that, is about like how you define time. And one of the questions he asks is, why do you remember the past but you don't remember the future? And I'm like, well, it's because it hasn't happened yet. But the way that he explains time is that it's more of a location rather than, I don't even know how else to explain it. Like, he's like, it's a location, not just like a moment in time that's like fleeting and gone forever once it's there. So I went back and I looked up like the possibilities of time travel, and I went through like how he explains how it could happen. So I have a couple things here. So the first thing that I thought was interesting was that you can actually, like, time is physical in some way. I don't really understand it all, but you can bend time, right? And there has to be a certain curvature to time in order for time travel to be allowed. In order to time travel, we have to be able to move faster than the speed of light. And as of the writing of this book, we had only been able to accelerate particles up to 99.9% of the speed of light. No matter what we have tried, we simply can't get over that hump and actually produce anything to go over the speed of light. Nonetheless, get somebody to time travel, right? Now, there was an alternative theory. You've probably heard of wormholes, right?
Mm-hmm, of course.
And a wormhole is like connecting two locations. Remember, he says that time is a location, not just like a fleeting moment. And he said there is a possibility, there's some theories out there that you can connect those two locations in a wormhole and be able to do it that way and make it a lot quicker. He did say that there was a possibility of, if you could get somebody to go at the speed of light, you could get them to go out, and I think we've seen this in Interstellar, where you go out into the universe and you come back, and the passage of time makes it like 100,000 years in the future. I don't really know exactly how he says that, but
yes.
He gives a couple. He gives like a final resolution at the end, and he said that it is theoretically the way that science is now. It does allow for you to go back into the future, like it's possible, but we don't have like the mechanics to make it that way. He said there have been some suggestions that an advanced civilization might be able to do it, which is interesting because if it is an iPhone, like a current iPhone, the advanced civilization, like, would they bring like a 2012 or 2020 iPhone back? That's a little interesting. But it says you can go back, but you wouldn't be able to have free will. So like that guy at the fight wouldn't have been able to do something to influence history, because when future you goes back to the past, like you are future you based on all of the circumstances. So when you went back, you wouldn't be able to influence anything because like it had already created you. Otherwise you wouldn't be there. So you would be kind of just an observer of the moment as opposed to somebody that could go back and change it. So based on Stephen Hawking's principles, and at the end he says, I don't really think time travel is possible, but the whole book is basically talks about how here's this is the history of the science here, this is what we believed, then we found out it was fake, and then this is what we believed then, and then we found out that wasn't real, and then we believed this, and then now found out that wasn't real. So it goes to, obviously it leaves it extremely open-ended, but that's what Stephen Hawking, one of the greats of our time, believes in time travel.
Well, if you're listening to this on Friday morning after going out Thursday night, Sean just did mental laps around you and absolutely left you clueless. But so let me ask you this, Sean. So what Stephen Hawking is essentially saying, part of what he's saying, this is what I grasped, is that if you were to go back in time, theoretically that moment has already happened, which means you going back in time has already happened, which means you couldn't affect the future because the future is currently happening, which you're already in, and because that moment has already happened that you already time traveled to, you can't do anything that would change what you're currently at to get you to here.
Yeah, he did put forth a theory that suggested that.
Wow.
Now, this is wild, but he did suggest that there was alternative histories that you could travel back to, and then you could make adjustments. He also said, like, I think Einstein was suggesting that the only possible time travel would be that interstellar time travel where you go out, speed of light, center of the universe, you come back, it's been 100,000 years, but only 8 years for you. And so he thought that, like, it seems like that's possible if we were able to go at the speed of light. But again, like he's saying, and this is, I don't understand this. I can't get my brain around this. But he is saying that time, like we think of time as linear, right? Like it's 2022, tomorrow, or let's say today is Wednesday, tomorrow will be Thursday, right? He's not saying that. He's saying like traveling from Hoboken to the Bronx, it would be the same as traveling from 2022 to 1917. He's like, that's how it, like, that's how he is constructed. It's not like a straight line. It's more of like a cyclical, like, map, as opposed to, and again, I was reading this book and I was like, I don't understand a damn thing this guy's saying. But that's what he is saying.
That is I don't even know what to say about that.
It's nuts. Like,
as expected.
What?
Yeah, as expected, Stephen Hawking has me stumped. Little Stevie boy. But,
Old Stevie boy. Great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen that.
Huh?
Great movie with him. Well, not with him, but I think it was Benedict Cumberbatch who played him. It was really good.
Well, hopefully he doesn't talk about this portion, but because that is trying to think that traveling to the Bronx right now is the same as me going to 1976 is a very interesting. And then what if I travel to Queens? Is it 1983?
Whatever you want, my man. Whatever you want.
You know. It's a very that's a wild. I can't imagine being in that guy's brain.
But what's interesting is as he's going through this, and if people are interested in this book, if you're not like a genius, don't even bother, because I didn't understand this, and I'm damn smart. But he talks. There's so much unexplained. The people are just proposing theories in the book where people are like, I don't really understand it. So based on our current understanding, does this work? And if you can't find any fault in it based on our current understanding, they just go with it. And a lot of it is like, dude, God might be legit here because we don't have any idea how any of this is happening. So I don't know. It's interesting, but the time travel thing was interesting because obviously that's compelling to all. I personally, man, I don't know. It's the thing that's crazy to me about the Tyson thing is two things. One, you go out into the future, obviously, this is us in 2022, but somebody who can time travel in 3000, that's normal, and we have all this new science and new understanding of what's going on, so it's not that weird. But you went back to the Tyson fight?
You went back to the Tyson fight and brought an iPhone?
Yeah, exactly.
Theoretically, I don't know, based off Stephen Hawking's description of time travel, I don't know that it's possible to bring an iPhone back because you can't affect the future. And I don't know if you.
Well,
bring
he's
an
saying
iPhone
it's got to
back.
go. It's speed. It's speed. So it's that's the thing. And one of the things is they were saying well, can it be possible for a human being to withstand going significantly faster than the speed of light? I don't know. Seems like the fighter pilots have a lot of trouble with 400 miles an hour or whatever the speed of sound is.
All the G's.
Yeah, a lot of G's.
Sean can't even stand the Green Lantern at Six Flags.
Dude, that ride should be dismantled. That thing sucks.
If you're not familiar with the Green Lantern back home, well, not back home for us, it's in Six Flags Great Adventure here in New Jersey, and it is a standing roller coaster. That's tough as it is because you do have G-force on your legs that definitely makes them difficult, a little bit more difficult to use after the ride. However, Sean and I in particular, and also shout out Opie because that's who Sean went with to Six Flags recently, all 6'4" and above, and they just don't make those rides big enough for us tall people. So now your knees are kind of bent at the same time as while riding this ride. It's very difficult ride. And me and Sean years ago went before Hurricane Sandy hit New Jersey, the hurricane that absolutely dismantled New Jersey for a long time. And we went over there, and with the day before it hit, and no one was there. So at one point, me and Sean rode this ride, and we got back to the beginning. No one was in line, so they just go, "Hey, do you guys want to ride it again?" So we decided to. Huge mistake. Huge mistake.
That ended us. We left after that, right?
Yeah, that absolutely ended us. But wrapping up this Tyson thing, so based off of it, let's go. So Sean, you're very much so if for those you redacted pod fans out there, Sean is very, very much so the Tyler Milliken of this podcast, in the sense that he is very he's going to dive much deeper into things. And have a lot of, let's say, if he was doing the Red Sox, have a lot more statistics-based stuff than I will. But based off what you found from Stephen Hawking, Sean, what is your conclusion? Is this a time traveler? I have my answer prepared. I will allow you to go first, though.
I'm going to say no, but more so because of the randomness of the event the guy chose to go back to. I can get on board with it maybe not being an iPhone, just an advanced device of some sort. It does look like an iPhone, but it looks like the flash is a little off-centered. And because of how far away time travel seems from right now, based on, this is one of the smartest guys of our generation, I think that it would be significantly further in the future that we would be able to do it. And that would lead me to believe, Mike Tyson is not, in 1,000 years, in 100 years, Mike Tyson is not going to be somebody who is revered and remembered. He might be a note in history in the Hall of Fame, but would we go back and watch Yogi Berra play baseball? Maybe some people, but still, that's even 50 years ago. We're talking hundreds of years in the future. So I think it's more so the unlikeliness that somebody would choose to go back to that event as opposed to what's possible in terms of time travel.
So the answer from Sean is no. I tend to agree with you, Sean, from a couple of reasons. One, what would be interesting based off of your what your analysis is and why your reasoning is, would be interesting to look to see if there's anything else that was interesting that happened in that little week or so, to see if this was just a stop, Tyson was just a stop, but not the main event for the time traveler. Could be interesting to see if something happened in '95 that maybe the person wanted to go back and see. Didn't the World Trade Center get attacked in '95? Didn't someone take a car into the garage?
I don't know when. But just a little random side note here. This news site in Australia pulled up these things as
I
things
saw that.
were okay. But the other thing that just also a side note is this is 1995. The guy who was taping this might still be alive.
Also
who was
very true.
That person. So I don't know. I say no, but.
I say no too. I just don't think that the thing that I'm on board with is that this device, what we're looking at, doesn't look like that advanced a device. It actually looks like it might be a device that is kind of years ago for us.
Devanced?
Yeah, it's kind of years ago for us. And I just, obviously, at least not to our knowledge, time travel at that time was not available to us. So I believe that they probably didn't do that. And again, if someone, let's say in 2013, wanted to time travel, I highly doubt they went back to '95 to see Tyson. If you have that ability, unless the time travel ability is just not great, so they had to go whatever the kind of could take.
That's where the portal was.
That's what the portal was. We're going '95 watching Tyson. So I don't think it was time travel either. But certainly interesting to see, and certainly interesting to see that Mike Tyson is even aware of this possible conspiracy theory. But with that being said, the one thing you can't time travel and do, which I'm sure you would love to time travel and do, is sports gamble on at the WynnBET app. Sorry We're Closed is brought to you by my friends over at WynnBET. WynnBET is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting. Whether you're a recreational player or a serious handicapper, WynnBET is your ticket to every exciting wager, from straight bets to parlays, teasers, and any exotic proposition wager you can dream up. Sign up today and use promo code XSWC1, and after placing your first $100 wager, you'll receive $100 to bet with. There is also a $50 casino bonus for those in New Jersey and Michigan as a first-time player. Again, the promo code is XSWC1. There's no better way to enjoy sports than with some extra winnings in your pocket to use for all your favorite bets. Betting is a team sport. Join WynnBET team and bet with the best. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 or older to participate. Only available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. All right, Sean. Tyson. There's nothing going on there. Moving on, which is for the first time, I think, Sean, for the first time in a good bit, this segment is actually kind of interesting. And it's the Red Sox Yankees. Now, as you guys know, if you're new listeners, we always dive into Red Sox Yankees because I'm a Red Sox fan. My brother's a Yankee fan. And we talk sports throughout the year, so it's not just a baseball podcast. But as you know, we're in the heat of baseball season right now, so that's what we're discussing. And Red Sox Yankees, for the large majority of the year, has been kind of the same. It's been the Red Sox have been up and down. The Yankees have been consistently good. For the past, let's say, 3 weeks or so, the Yankees have been consistently down, and the Red Sox have been, I would say, they were bad for the first week and a half. They've been good for the last week and a half. So for the first time, again, in a long time, if we're just kind of going off of the past week, we actually have quite an interesting little segment here because the Red Sox have been playing fairly well. And they have an interesting past weekend playing the Yankees and taking that series. Rafael Devers is back in that lineup and sparking it. Kike Hernandez is coming off the IL. He came off last night. So he's back in this lineup, hopefully giving it a little bit of another spark. Xander Bogaerts, JD Martinez. We got some pitching coming back. Honestly, it's just resembling a team that we saw in June in Boston, and rather than the team we've seen in the other 3 months. Now, the New York Yankees, on the other hand, Sean, as you've seen, has been a team that has been really bad. They have not been playing well. I think they've lost like 11 of the last 20 games, or not even. I think it's worse than that. I think they have just been notoriously very bad. Now, it's kind of a catch-22 for the Boston Red Sox fans. Because the Boston Red Sox need the Yankees to be beating up on teams like the Rays and the Blue Jays. And they're just not. They're losing to them. I think they have an opportunity to get swept by the Rays tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so although Red Sox fans love to see the Yankees suck, the Yankees are so far out. I think they're 9 games up now. They're still so far out in this division that it just makes it's like bittersweet. You're like, yeah, fuck you, Yankees. You're losing, but son of a bitch, guys. This is the time we need you to be fucking winning.
True.
So it's a really interesting dynamic for Red Sox fans. I still think you just take care of yourself because you play in division, guys, so many times throughout the September. You just take care of yourselves. I still think the Red Sox have a good chance of making the last wild card spot. But we all of a sudden, and again, if the Red Sox, let's take away the Red Sox for example right now because they're still on the outside looking in. You look at this Yankee club. Yankees, let's see, Sean, do you have the Yankees schedule up by chance right in front of you?
I'm pretty close to it.
Okay, can you pull that up for me? So I'd really love to see what the next week of games look like for the Yankees.
Sure. All right, what do we got? We got Tampa tonight, 4 against the Blue Jays, 2 against the Mets, and then they're going out West Coast, A's and Angels.
What is it, the first one?
The first one coming up is Rays tonight, then 4 home against the Blue Jays.
And it was Mets, and then what was the first West Coast team?
Athletics. The daunting crowd of Oakland.
Yeah, Athletics, and who, by the way, did you see the clip of the Athletics gentleman throwing up in center field?
The player?
Mid-game.
I think there's a story there.
Oh, I'm sure there was, especially being on the Athletics. I can imagine.
Hi, I'm on the Athletics.
Yes, but anywho, so let's just go. Let's get before you got to the West Coast. Is right there. The Athletics and the Angels are a little bit of a break for you as a Yankee team in hopes to get back on track. You're looking at you got a possible sweep tonight by the Rays. They had 3 games against them. Or there was 3 or 4 games they played against the Rays so far, Sean.
Right. Oh,
which were how many?
They've played 2. They lost 4-0 and then 3-1.
Okay, so the possible sweep tonight against the Rays, that would bring the Rays within 8. Because of how bad they've been, you really can't take off the table that they get swept by the Blue Jays. And then 2 against the Mets, a Mets team who has been bit by the injury bug, but a Mets team nonetheless that's very good, and you can't get to the 9th inning losing because it doesn't seem to give a chance of winning if Edwin Diaz comes into the game. So you have, let's just say, absolute worst case scenario for this Yankee team, and they lose the next 7 straight, which, again, they're 2-8 in the last 10, and I haven't seen that move in a while, which means they've been really bad. 7 in a row, or that would actually be 9 in a row, is certainly not off the table for this Yankee team the way they're playing right now.
2-8
certainly not off the table
in their last 10, so that makes sense.
So let's just, for example, say that's worst case scenario. Let's just say that happens. 7 in a row, and let's say the Rays win 5 of their next 7. They go 5-2. 7 in a row would bring the Rays within a couple games of the Yankees in the first place of the AL East.
Rays have very favorable next week.
The Rays do?
Playing the mean Kansas City Royals, and my main man Brad Keller taking the hump for the first game.
Well, as Jared Carabas would say, Jared's also a friend of Brad's.
Is he really?
Apparently, he's having a horrendous year. So, not
I thought
a
he was
good
actually having a decent year.
I
thought they were just bad. I mean, yeah, he's not great. 6-13, 4.93 ERA, 1.43 WHIP.
Not great. 5 ERA in the big leagues is obviously not what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But anywho, regardless of Brad, we love Brad on the program. Friend of the program.
We do
friend
love
of the
Brad.
program.
Wonderful fella.
Friend of the program. All of a sudden, when the Yankees go out to the West Coast, you have a division race on your hands. And we were talking almost all year about how this Yankee team was untouchable, essentially.
To be fair, I've been calling that this was going to happen.
To be fair. And
for the entire year.
We can get some clips for that, which will be fantastic for TikTok.
Yeah.
But you have been saying it's felt like a team that hasn't been quite assembled the way that a championship caliber team has been assembled. You didn't love, although a lot of people, you were in the minority.
On the trade deadline moves, right?
Trade deadline.
Yeah, what a trash move that was.
Yeah, you didn't like
made
who?
no
Hadler
sense.
Or something like that?
I didn't like any of them. I mean, they're fine players, but what are we doing here? There's no need to do. Why would you bring these guys in to disrupt the chemistry? Start taking at bats. I guess it kind of looks okay now that Matt Carpenter is down with a broken foot. I mean, it's a little helpful. But dude, I don't think you got to take into consideration like just the energy and the vibe of the clubhouse. Like we all know each other. We're excited. We're joking around. We're having a great time. It's that good vibe. And then like one new guy comes in, and you feel that. Like you feel like. You know what it's like when like you just meet somebody or a new guy's in the clubhouse and like you and your buddy are like chit chatting and you can like feel this guy over here just being like, hey, like I'm new, I can't really participate and like that's there and whether he's it could be a great guy, but you just don't have that bond and that relationship, and you add that in there like there was and it's fine if you're adding a pitcher, which was necessary. But when you're adding another bat, like why? Like what more? What you're averaging like 12 runs a game. What's the purpose of adding? Like where do these guys even go? So I thought that was a silly move, and I was shocked that I watched Tim Kirkjian like praise them. He's like, the Yankees did such a good job, and I was like, what? Really? I just didn't make any sense. And now you have these you have these random guys pretty much in their clubhouse that don't fit the chemistry. They haven't blended yet. So, but at the same time, what I'll say about what's going on in New York right now is that whatever. This is baseball. I think 162 games are widely over scrutinized. I think that you've got to look at them in chunks and in waves. Like they were hot, super hot for a while. Now they're not, which is how it goes. I think it's a good time to not be super hot, and it's like, okay, now we're really going to see if the Yankees have the chops or not, and if they can pull it back. Like you start looking at the Red Sox and say, like, maybe they're not that bad. Like that's what you need to see out of a team. You need to see that they go through adversity and they can handle it. This is if the Yankees have any chance to win the World Series, they have to go through this and they have to come out on the other side of it. And like that's to me, it's like this is where we find out if the Yankees are any good. I prefer them as a Yankee fan to not dominate Phoenix Suns style the entire regular season. You gotta wear this, you gotta feel it, and you gotta come out on the other side, because the playoff baseball, I don't want to see anybody in playoff baseball when those towels get waving in the stands and it's Joe Buck's on the call. Anything can happen, man, and you better have some adversity and a way to handle that and some bonding, and this will also help the bonding with the new guys as well. So I'm in on that.
Certainly. And the thing that I've praised the New York Yankees about all year has been the fact that they have been shown adversity. And the one I always go back to is when they got no hit for it was 17 consecutive innings by the Astros. And they lost that first game obviously because they got no hit. And then the second game, they got no hits the 8th inning, and they end up winning that game. And so what it showed me was a team that could handle adversity. and come back out on the other side and still win games. I mean, you're getting against a great. It wasn't like you were no hit by the Athletics and you guys were slumping. You're getting no hit by the Houston Astros, a really good ball club. So what I've seen here, and this is the negative, and you just gave a positive take on what it's like to slump and showing adversity, knowing you can come out the other end, all of that good stuff. The negative to this is these people are still human. And when you have this long of a slump where you're struggling, when you hit a slump in the playoffs, human brain naturally is going to think, well, I hope this isn't what we went through in August. We can't afford that here.
Very true.
And now people start pressing. And now, like you said, instead of you when you're 2-0, instead of you looking for one pitch, one spot, you might look for a couple pitches in a couple spots. And if it's not the perfect pitch, you're still going for it because you're trying to make something happen. And
yeah, but think about this. When you go through the slump and you feel it, this is my belief. When you go through the slump and you get out of it, right? When that next slump comes, you're going to say to yourself, like, how did I get out of that? How did we do that, right? So now you have a blueprint on how to get out of that. And I think that that's obviously important. And the other thing I'll say, just briefly as it reminded me, I was very discouraged to see Anthony Rizzo beating up the dugout the other night. I think it was Rizzo. Just after he struck it. I mean, it was kind of a crappy, like a bad call, weird thing or whatever.
He got
but
hit.
To go, he got hit. They called him for leaning into the pitch, and then he struck out. And then he went back and started, slamming his helmet around. To me, that's not handling adversity the right way. I know that's sort of accepted in baseball, but when I see that, I'm like, cracks in the armor here. We got a problem.
Certainly. That if he gets hit like that and gets called out in June or May, none of that. That's not happening. That's not happening in June and July, or not July a little bit, because back in July is when this stuff started happening. But you're talking about May. This stuff just didn't take place on this Yankee club because there were no cracks in the armor. It was, in May, Anthony Rizzo probably just says, "Oh, that was a shit call," and moves on. But right now, you're looking at a slumping team that is desperate to get off this slump. And like you said, Sean, I agree with you to an extent in the thought process that, hey, if you can get out of your own slump, when you get back into one, you have an understanding of how to get back out of that slump. I'm on board with you. I get that. But at the end of the day, it's really only if you, one, knew how you got out of it, and two, if you trusted how you knew how to get out of it. If you just happen to start hitting again, you don't really have an understanding of how it happened. Nor humans, we're still intelligent people. Where like if you get out of this slump, you might. I've done things where I was throwing balls. Maybe I was throwing a bunch of balls in a row or something like that, not struggling. And then I did this move and I threw a strike.
Focus on something, right?
Yeah, but like I didn't. I was like I was lucky. That's not like I can't do that again. There are certain things. Like as a pitcher, you need to have these certain ticks, and I'm sure hitters do the same. But whenever you go through this long of a slump, you just start to not trust yourself as much as you used to.
Definitely.
And even if you find these ticks to get you out of these slumps, you're still always in the back of your head that again. And I'm taking it. I don't think the Aaron Judges of the world are struggling with this. I don't think Garrett Cole. I think Garrett Cole can come out of stuff. A lot of these DJ LeMahieu. Probably fine. Anthony Rizzo, probably fine. But you're not from top to bottom. Like Andrew Benintendi, he's not immune to that. Right. You have these guys that you rely on. You can't just have these studs produce. These other guys you rely on have to be good as well. And if they start to slump, now all of a sudden, you saw it with the Boston Red Sox team. You saw the hitters 5 through 9 struggle, and now everything was on Xander and JD to produce. And that's a lot of freaking pressure. You can't just have these guys the only ones producing all the time. And a lot of times they had to be solo shots because no one would be on base. So, listen, we're seeing cracks in the arm of the Yankees team. If they're able to get out of this and come out the other side in a good way, yes, there's a good chance that they still have a good year and have a good chance of winning the World Series, and they still do. But they're now like 3 games out of the top spot in the American League, which they held for almost all year. They are now, like I said, they are one bad another 10 games.
That's
with
one
the Rays.
atrocious 10 games.
I'm saying, but we're not even talking about. Let's say they go 5-5. Let's say they go 4-6. They're still if the Rays play well. You're talking about which was a 13 or 14 and a half game lead that's now shrunk to 5. Now you have one bad series against the Rays you might play. If the Rays sweep you in a 3-game set, you're now within 2 games. This Yankee team is in striking distance. And it's starting to, again, and that's why I think they're starting to see some of these Anthony Rizzo blow-ups because they understand and they're watching the standings because just as well as I do, Sean, MLB Network is on in there every freaking night. And I was just on that show Off Base with MLB Network. And I'm careful about what I say because I know it's in every damn clubhouse and people are listening to it. But these guys, this is what happens. You hear these things. And when you're talking about the New York Yankees, the Yankees are a headline every single day. You're the Boston Red Sox. You're a headline every single day. And so you just can't get away from hearing about this stuff. You just can't get away. And when you're slumping as bad as the Yankees are, you're hearing about it every day on every program. And when you're not Anthony Rizzo, when you're not Aaron Judge, who just don't care that much about that, you certainly can start seeing cracks in the armor, which we're obviously seeing. But again, I go back to how I started this segment. This is the first time in I don't know how long, Sean, that this has been a meaningful segment on the show.
Yeah,
because
I agree with
first
that.
time in a while we've really seen cracks in this Yankee armor.
Well, we're approaching. I mean, like this is we're no longer in the dog days, in my opinion. We're second half of August here, where baseball is starting to get really meaningful again, and I think everybody's going to feel that. I don't care whatsoever that they're not the best team in the American League or the best team in baseball. Personally, if I were to curate the season, I would put this in there, and I would put it in there exactly where it is right now, so that they can develop it, they can figure it out, they can overcome this, they'd be stronger on the other side of it, especially with new guys in the clubhouse. So I'm happy that it's here, and now we'll just see what we got.
Yep. Now you should get the hell out of it because also in that script that you would give them is them getting out of it.
They get out of it in a real good way.
In a real good way. All right. Well, listen, time will tell. I love that it's happening for the show purposes because in a week from now we get to record again and we get to talk about what's going on with this Yankee ball club and have they gotten out of the slump? Have they started playing better? Where are they with the Rays and the Blue Jays? Even the Orioles who somehow continue to play okay. So, the Red Sox aren't winning the division this year. Probably neither are the Orioles. But Orioles, Blue Jays, Rays. Rays are 9 games out. Blue Jays are 10 games out. Orioles are 10.5 games out. Again, if you continue to slump in the Bronx, you could see one of those teams making a push for the AL East, and wow, would it be a story if someone else won the AL East this year and it wasn't the New York Yankees. But
sure.
Moving on out of the AL East now, look around the league segment brought to you by Electronic Arts. AL East segment, AL Central. Guardians up 2 games or 1 game on the Twins and White Sox. White Sox coming back from the dead. We thought late June-ish that they were a shit team, weren't going to be able to compete this year. We did see Tony La Russa get a suggestion from a fan in order to put a pinch runner in, and he listened. So that was a fun segment. That was fun. Yeah, Tony La Russa taking advice from the stands now. It certainly was the right move. So I'll give him credit. He didn't let his ego get in the way of hearing the suggestion from the fan. But
that's Tony La Russa first.
Yeah, I mean, Tony La Russa is now seemingly like he's in his 90s going through menopause. So the guy is just, I don't know if that's going to be a long-term coach for them. But we certainly have a dogfight in the AL Central. AL West, not so much of a dogfight. The Astros and Mariners at the top of that division. The Mariners, however, 11 games back and have certainly come off their hot streak that they were in going into the All-Star break. 6-4 in their last 10. Astros 5-5 in their last 10. Some of that being with the Red Sox. So not a dogfight. Rangers, Angels, Athletics all out of the postseason, and that's just the way that's going to work. So Astros certainly taking that lead, and the Astros also on top of the American League in total. Going over to the National League, Mets have a 3.5 game lead on the Braves. Phillies still hanging around to some extent, 9.5. However, they need help, just like in the AL East. They certainly need help from the Mets and Braves in order to really compete in this division. The Mets played well against the Braves, although they just got shellacked by the Braves. I think it was last night or 2 nights ago. They lost 17-1 or something like that. So they got absolutely murdered out there. But Mets overall still playing well, 7-3 in their last 10. The Braves 8-2 in their last 10. Phillies 7-3 in their last 10. NL Central, the division no one cares about. Cardinals 2 games up on the Brewers. Brewers 14 games up on the Cubs. Reds and Pirates, no chance. Although I'm thrilled that the Red Sox are currently playing the Pirates because they have slumped hard and they are just not a good ball club. NL West, a division that we certainly care about, and I believe, if I am going to take a quick look here, I am correct. The Dodgers hold the best record in baseball by about 5 games. They have played phenomenal, 80-35, 17 games up on the Padres, who we just had Tatis Jr. Test positive for something with the cholesterol, something like that.
He tested positive for high cholesterol.
He claims that it was having to do with some type of, I don't even know, some type of.
It was to treat something. It was for ringworm, I think he said.
Yeah. His dad came out and certainly did not like how Major League Baseball handled it. But, I mean, we're not going to sit here and debate, whether or not Major League Baseball handled this correctly or not. I mean, the guy tested positive. The rules are the rules. If they want to adjust the rules going forward, I think that's fine as far as, maybe telling people that maybe the amount that he tested positive for, or maybe making adjustments to how much you can test positive for and not be a positive drug test if it's not actually affecting the player, because that seems to be what Tatis Jr.'s defense is here. Regardless of all that, the Padres, I actually heard this recently, the Padres have some pressure on them. And the reason the Padres have some pressure on them is they just made some big moves in this trade deadline, getting they got rid of Hosmer, getting Soto and getting Josh Bell from the Washington Nationals. They're 17 games out of this division. Probably not going to win the division, if I'm a guessing man. But they're 17 games out. They're 65. So they are tied, it looks like. Well, no, they're down to the Phillies, it looks like, for the third wild card spot, which is crazy to me. But
no, they're in the third spot right now.
They are in the third spot right now?
Yeah, Braves have it. They're 1.5 behind the Phillies, but they're still in.
Okay, and because the Brewers
are one back.
Them. Yeah. So certainly some pressure there with the moves you made. And to make those moves, not to win a division, but to win a wild card spot, is an interesting move. But that is what we got here as far as look around the league. Look around the league, as you would expect, is brought to you by WynnBET. WynnBET is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Get in all your favorite teams, players, and sports, from boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport. They have what you need to win. Sign up today and use promo code XSWC1. And after placing your first $100 wager, you receive another $100 to bet with. There is a $50 casino bonus for those in New Jersey and Michigan as a first-time player. Again, promo code is XSWC. Offer subject to terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 to participate. Only available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. Moving on. WynnBET odds. And WynnBET odds, I want to when we talk about the WynnBET odds, this new segment we've been talking about, we've been using, I brought up someone put I think it was $200 or $150, something like that, on the I believe, was it the Reds? I'm not 100% sure. No, the Cubs. It was like $100 on the Cubs to win the World Series this year. Now the Cubs are atrocious. They have almost no chance of even getting in the playoffs. But they put $100 on to win, I think, $250,000 or something like that. So it was like plus $250,000. Whatever whatever you win as far as plus $250,000, but certainly, I think it was phrased on the TikTok that I saw someone doing that was today's donation.
Yeah.
Because although you have these crazy odds, the odds of you actually getting it, I guess, are plus $250,000, but I mean, the Cubs are not going to make the World Series. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs, let alone have any chance at a World Series. But, I mean, I guess why not? I don't really know. I guess why not? But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Now, moving on to the WynnBET odds. Sean, do you have WynnBET up on your computer right now?
No. Let me pull it up on my iPad.
But I want you to look over, Sean, at the 2022 World Series winner futures pick. That's what I want you to look at, Sean. Once you have a chance. But I will go through this for you anyway. The odds favorite currently, plus 325, is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Plus 350 are the New York Yankees. Plus 425, Houston Astros, which, if you're a gambling man, I would pick the Astros over the Yankees right now. I think those are better odds for you. New York Mets at 450, Braves 1250, and here we go. Get deeper and deeper and deeper here. Now, if you're going to pick a flyer on one of these teams, I mean, they have the Chicago Cubs at plus 200,000. I mean, that is just a ridiculous pick. The Boston Red Sox are at plus 10,000. Now, originally, my favorite futures pick when I was out in the Wynn Casino, my favorite futures pick was the Seattle Mariners. Now, the Seattle Mariners have now gone to plus 2,500. Not as cool of odds to put money on. But the Boston Red Sox, they're playing okay baseball right now. Even the Tampa Bay Rays at plus 5,000. But the Red Sox at plus $10,000. I don't know what those odds work out. Let's see here. If I do plus 10,000, what does that mean as far as winning money? Betting odds calculator. Perfect. Access denied. Okay, never mind. Not perfect. Let's see if this one works. And people at home that are, if I put $1,000 on a single bet, American odds plus not 10,000. Let's see here. Okay. Wow. If I put $1,000 on the Boston Red Sox to win on their plus 10,000 odds, I would win $100,000.
That's a good. That's a solid flyer. What you want to look for is a team that's probably motivated to make some moves, a place that can make moves, a place that people want to play at, and I think the Red Sox is a pretty good one of those. I mean, I don't think the Cubs.
They're not going to have any moves this year.
Why?
This is for this World Series.
I know for this one, but is that for this World Series? You're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're talking about if you're going to throw a flyer. Because you don't want to put, why put money on the Dodgers?
Yeah.
Like it's plus $325.
Yeah, it's not even fun.
Whatever.
Even if you win.
No.
Yeah, so I don't hate the Red Sox in that spot. I don't think that I mean, obviously, I don't think that's going to happen. That's the point. But
that is the point.
Yeah, I mean that if I'm going to take a flyer, I think the Red Sox are a great flyer there. I think they're one of the few that might be able to do it.
Yeah, listen. I'm with you on that because, like I said, nothing else really. And this is what people talk about. I mean, a lot of people are into parlays, which me and you have not dipped our toes into yet, but which could be interesting. I think would be very interesting in college football. You put a few games together to see a bunch of winners. That's when I'm going to
get my juices flowing.
Yeah, especially when you put West Virginia as part of the parlay. I mean, you're guaranteed to win $1 million probably if you're betting them to win. So. You want, like for me, like you want that the juice is flowing. You don't want like some bullshit. You don't want to, like you said, you don't want to bet the Dodgers to win and you won a couple $100. Like you want that all of a sudden the Red Sox get hot in September and you're like, uh-oh. We have a possibility here. But if you were to pick one other, Sean, I'm going to give you. Do you have the odds in front of you?
No,
I can tell you them.
I don't.
Okay, so. I mean, we're talking if you were, you're talking the Phillies plus 3,000, the White Sox playing a little better plus 5,000, Tampa Bay Rays, like I said, plus 5,000, certainly playing well, about to sweep the Yankees. The only other plus 10,000 team is the San Francisco Giants, which me and you don't know a whole lot about that club. At least I don't.
I know they're 21 and a half games back.
Then you have the Baltimore Orioles, interestingly enough. The Baltimore Orioles, who are ahead of the Red Sox, at plus 20,000. So you have a little bit more, better odds with the Orioles winning. But then you're talking, once you get past the Orioles, you're talking the Angels at plus 50,000, Marlins plus 50,000. None of these teams
I like Rays, Red Sox as really the only people that could possibly do it.
Yeah. Listen, the Rays are sneaky, plus 5,000.
They were just in the World Series, you know.
So based off my, if I'm thinking about it correctly here, based off my calculator, you'd win $50,000 on a $1,000 bet, 51,000. Yeah, you get $50,000. That's
exciting.
I mean,
that's not out of the question.
Exciting.
Yeah,
not out of the question. You certainly have some decent odds. The way they've been playing, and it's the Rays. They always seem to be in it. They just can't seem to close the deal. But I think if I'm going to do it, I'm going to put it on the Red Sox because that's the team I want to root for.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think those, if you're talking about futures pick right now in Major League Baseball, I think those are the most attractive ones as far as
no question,
kind of putting some money and have some fun with it.
No question.
Because I mean, why would you put them? And the Mariners have played well, and they have Luis Castillo.
Yeah, they're not going to win it though. You can see that. You can see the Rays. You can see the Rays Red Sox pulling it off.
Yeah, a little more experience on the clubs.
Yeah,
I mean, Luis Castillo again is very good and compete with anyone in baseball, and when you're pitching him. But I mean, it just feels cooler to be the Red Sox and Rays.
It does.
But yeah, I listen. I don't know. I want to see if there's futures picks out for college football and who's going to win it. Let's see. I got the futures here. Now, here we are. National championship. Well, that was quick. Shocking. They wanted me to bet my money. Alabama, certainly the odds favorite, Sean.
I know.
Certainly odds favorite, plus 180. And then you go to Ohio State at plus 325. Georgia plus 400. Let's see. And you know exactly what I'm scrolling to here, Sean.
Keep scrolling, my friend.
They do not have them.
I mean, it's absurd this year.
Yeah, the worst one is UCLA, and UCLA Kansas State is better than this.
We were picked pretty low in the Big 12. I feel like Kansas State should not have been picked higher than us though.
Kansas State, TCU, and UCLA all plus 30,000. We have no West Virginia on this list.
I'm not worried about that. I mean, we're not going to win the national championship, but
oh, really, Sean?
But I won't predict they will win every game.
They have a ton. They will win every game. We are not winning the national championship. Very interesting. Oh, you can't bet on New York schools, which is also interesting. But which brings us to our next segment, which is going to be a Sean led segment, and we're going to talk more about our West Virginia Mountaineers. Sean has breaking news, breaking news out of the West Virginia world. Although this person's not really in the West Virginia world anymore. Sean, go ahead, and for any of you Mountaineer fans listening out there, just take a listen to what Sean has discovered in the transfer portal.
Yeah, so just coming out, I got to give credit to our father. He's actually the one who sent this to me. Jarrett Dagey, who was our quarterback for the last 2.5 years, has left, thank the sweet baby Jesus, and he has transferred to Western Kentucky and spent the spring and the summer there. And he just re-entered the transfer portal 2 weeks before the season started, which leads me to believe, I did some digging. There's obviously not a huge media contingent for Western Kentucky, but I did some digging, and it did appear that he was in a quarterback competition with a transfer from West Florida, I believe, who had just won the Division II national championship last year. And that guy was transferring up to Western Kentucky, and that seemed to be happening. There seemed to be a competition there. There was not enough media and speculation for me to dig up like who was winning it. And, the coaches were saying like, well, I'm comfortable sending either of these guys going in, whatever. But I mean, him leaving is pretty clear that he was not in line to be that starter, especially 2 weeks before the season. You're probably talking game prep now and probably getting into who's going to be number one and things of that nature. So, it's interesting because Jared Diggy is currently as it stands, he is the he's the most active of all the quarterbacks in playing college football right now. He has the most yards and I believe touchdowns out of anybody. It's because he has 12 years of eligibility apparently, so he's left. So what's interesting, obviously, to me, there's a couple things. Number one is, okay, we were right. This guy was horrendous, right? Like this guy, I remember thinking last year, this guy does not belong in a Power 5 football. Like he is not that level of a quarterback. I've never seen a quarterback of that level at West Virginia, or hard for me to say anywhere else because I just don't pay that much attention. But I really don't think so. On the flip side, bringing in JT Daniels, who is presumably going to be our starting quarterback this year with a pedigree, former 5-star quarterback, a lot of experience. Is it possible that we are in a position for a massive jump this year because we now have the guy who's going to be running the show is legit and he belongs at this level. We know that, and like, does this set the stage for a massive leap for the Mountaineers coming this season? I think that possibility exists right now based on the information we have.
I think the possibility certainly exists. I mean, the guy's coming from Georgia, you said, right? JT Daniels?
Yes.
Yeah, Georgia. I mean, the guy is an elite quarterback.
Where he was a starter, by the way. He got injured, and there was like a Tony Romo, Dak Prescott situation where JT Daniels got injured, and then Stetson Bennett came in, and everyone's like, yo, this guy's mad good.
The only thing I'm a little concerned about is the lack of other big-time schools after JT Daniels afterwards. Now, I'm not entirely concerned about that because a lot of these big-time schools already have 5-star quarterbacks, so they don't need JT Daniels. I'm sure there's some that could have used him. So there's a little bit concerning there. If he can stay healthy, though, regardless, it's a huge upgrade for the West Virginia Mountaineers.
Yes.
And I'm thrilled to have him. I'm thrilled. I am much more excited going into this year than I have ever been in a long time, and since what's-his-face was there, who went and played for the Panthers.
Wow. Will Grier. God bless Will Grier.
Yeah. I have not been this excited as far as a quarterback is concerned since that year. So I certainly am excited about the way this team is trending, and I certainly hope that he can not only bring that quarterback feel to it, but also elevate other players along with him because of how good he is and the type of quarterback that he is, bringing that Georgia mentality over here that, hey, we're not trying to win a couple games in the Big 12 here. I'm trying to go out and win the Big 12. I'm not here to try to, I just was at fucking Georgia. I didn't come here to lose all the, to lose to Kansas State. We're here to win.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that's what Neil Brown said. Neil Brown probably recruiting him, saying, hey, listen, you're the missing link for us to be able to win the Big 12. So you have come here and you have a chance to prove yourself on a team that has the ability to go out there. And now, hey, listen, who knows? Throw a flyer at the wall, and you win the Big 12. Maybe you have a really good year with JT Daniels, and next thing you know, you're leaving up to the college football committee to give you a shot to go up against your old school and show them that they made the wrong selection. So I'm sure.
Are you saying right now on this podcast that West Virginia is going to be in the college football playoff?
Under no circumstances am I saying that. However, do I think that this gives them a much better chance? Yes. What I'm curious about, and I want to, is a quick segment because we got to get to the Sean's Big Finish. But as far as this completely not irrelevant topic, but the gentleman who won the D2 national championship as a quarterback, then transfers up to Western Kentucky. What's the move there? Like, are you saying that, okay, I played well at D2, let's go to Western Kentucky, hope you play well again, and then transfer to a bigger school and then give yourself a shot at the NFL?
Because he's probably, I'm going to guess, I didn't look, but I'm going to guess that he was like a junior, senior already, probably just trying
I would much prefer win the D2 national championship than play at a mid-major D1 school. Western Kentucky,
but you remember back then, like, how it feel. And I'll say the Western Kentucky quarterback last year is on the New England Patriots. I believe. I know he got drafted 4th round. I think that's what I read.
Oh, so that's probably recruiting.
So it's probably like puts you in a better position to get drafted.
Give yourself a shot.
West Virginia actually, the Division II Player of the Year or something was a quarterback at I don't remember exactly the school, maybe Glenville State or something like that in West Virginia. We actually brought him in for a visit because he was thinking about transferring. I don't think we offered him. I think.
But that's what I'm saying. West Virginia makes sense.
Yeah, like Western
Kentucky doesn't make
yeah,
that
but you
much
remember
sense.
you remember being in. I mean, you might not so much, but for me, it was such a big deal to play Division I, right? And like I remember, like I have a friend who was actually the Division II college basketball player of the year, and he played great. He played at Bentley, but bro, you played D2. Like you always have that hanging over your head. And he's probably probably killing in Division I, but I think that's a thing for people.
Yeah, listen, and as a kid, yeah, I get it. Like maybe it's hanging over your head as a kid, but like I give two shits what division you play.
Yeah, but they're kids,
no,
they're still there. It means it's really meaningful to them still.
Yeah, I mean you're a D2 player of the year. You must have been good. Like
yeah.
So like again, when you become an adult, if you still care about it, you probably. I mean, it's if you played Division I basketball, you played Division I football. It's certainly as an adult, it's a little feather in the cap.
Yeah.
All right, I did it. I did this. So maybe that's what he's looking to do. Maybe again the New England Patriots thing. That is certainly something I did not know. So that also helps. So I'll give him a little credit. I was just curious about that move because the transfer portal is so new to me. And when I was playing, it was very different. So I'm just curious if you're kind of just play good. It's almost like the minor leagues. Play good D2, go to a mid-major, play good there, go to the big dogs. That's
a major concern with West Virginia right now. Is that's what's been happening. I've had a lot of conversations where it's like back in 2006, if Pat White and Steve Slayton were doing what they were doing with these rules, would they have just been like, "See, we're going to friggin' Alabama"? Yeah.
Listen, now when the Light Brothers become NIL fans.
Yeah, we're on our way. We're on our way. We're on our way.
We're on our way. All right, guys, last advertisement of the day. Betting is a team sport. Join WynnBET team and bet with the best. They got your ticket to every single straight bet, parlay, teaser, props wager, all right at your fingertips. The WynnBET app is easy to use. So play with the most trusted brand in the industry. Sign up today and use promo code XSWC1. And after placing your first $100 wager, you'll receive $100 to bet with. There is another $50 casino bonus for those in New Jersey and Michigan. Again, promo code is XSWC1. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 to participate. Only available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. All right, guys. Sean's big finish. 2 minutes on the clock, Sean. 2 minutes on the clock. I am starting a timer on my phone because my video went out. 2 minutes on the clock. And go.
Deshaun Watson takes back his no regrets and apologizes for the first time. Is this a PR stunt?
100% a PR stunt. That's exactly what it is. He's trying to save face the best he can, and I'm sure he's got people working for him.
100%. That's what literally everybody's been saying. Like, this guy's never even apologized. That's why he should be suspended for the full season. Exactly. Brittany Grinder's defense team files appeal of conviction. Is that significant?
Not in Russia. It's not. They don't. They make up their own rules. You can appeal whatever the hell you want.
Yeah,
it is meaning.
Seems like a formality.
You're not appealing shit.
Seems like a formality. I'm not really rattled about. I think what I like to see is that the U.S. government is not like prioritizing her just because she's in the media. She made a mistake, and there's other Americans that are over there, and have been over there longer. I think, unfortunately for her, I think she's there for quite a while. Live Golf accuses Tiger Woods of encouraging young players not to be part of Live Golf. Thoughts?
I think there's a lawsuit involved. I don't understand how you can sue someone for encouraging people not to join your league, but it's America, so you can sue anyone for anything. But it seems odd. I'm with Tiger. I want the PGA Tour to still be the premier of the golf community. So I hope he wins this.
I agree, and it's a little weird. I don't think Tiger's kind of beyond that, but because he's just a legend, I'd rather see other people do it and not have Tiger be the guy drawing the line in the sand and possibly come under some scrutiny. But whatever, it's not that big of a deal.
Most influential guy to do it, though. So
yeah, Bill Russell's number being retired by the entire NBA.
I think it's great. I think what he's done. I don't remember off the top of my head what he did, but I remember them talking a ton of stuff as far as the racial barrier and stuff like that. Love it.
He's like the godfather of the NBA. Everybody loves the guy. He was the man. The only interesting component of that, I think he was number 6, and I think LeBron James wears number 6. It'll be interesting to see what number he chooses after that. Pirates, guy on the Pirates sliding into third base, and his phone falls out of his pocket. Thoughts?
I don't know why the hell his phone was in his pocket, but ridiculous. I mean, you just can't do that.
He definitely made a mistake, and my favorite part was the third base coach. The guy tried to hand him the phone. The third base coach was like, "I don't want anything to do with it." He eventually took it, but he didn't want to take it at first. That was pretty funny. Lastly, Kevin Durant meeting with the general manager in Brooklyn says it's either me or Steve Nash and the general manager. So he wants Nash and Sean Marks fired. Otherwise, he wants to be traded. What do you think about that?
I mean, this guy seems to be the biggest cancer. I thought Kyrie Irving was. Kevin Durant seems like the biggest cancer in all of sports right now. I mean, I can't get on board with anyone doing that, and nor do I think that you, as a player, have any real capabilities of putting together a really good team. So no, I'm out on it completely. I'm out on Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know necessarily that he's a cancer, but what I think is the thing I hate the most is how the players are not honoring the contracts that they signed. At some point, the owners have to have some control and some ability to enforce a contract instead of these players just saying, "I'm out. I'm not doing this. Freaking trade me, and I'm gonna pick where I want to go." That can't happen. That can't continue. Adam Silver backs me up on that. That's the end.
Sean's Big Finish, guys. Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We will check back with you next week. Look for all the TikToks. Follow. I think I might make a TikTok for the Sorry We're Closed. It seems pretty easy to make. I just was looking at that yesterday. But check back, and we'll see you next week. See what this Yankee ball club is looking like in a week from here and what the AL East is looking for. Check back with us next week every Friday morning. Sorry We're Closed is out.
Sorry, we're closed.